Hi, hello, and good day to everyone out there. It's imashbuttons, and we're back yet again with another weekly Jujutsu Kaisen chapter review, this time for chapter 260. Last week, JJK dropped a banger of a chapter in our collective laps with Sukuna's furnace technique and the return of Todo. That chapter was absolutely wild, and it feels like we're continuing on with this hot streak with the latest chapter. As usual, before we get into it, consider subscribing to the channel as we're on the road to 1K and leaving a comment and like to help feed the algorithm. With all the YouTuber begging out of the way, let's just get right into it because this chapter was a banger, and I know I say that week in and week out, but this week has a little nostalgia seasoning to it now that Todo is back. During last week's chapter review, I made a joke that our boy Todo would reveal that he has the Infinity Gauntlet underneath those bandages, but turns out, JJK decided to give him something even better in the form of a goddamn Vibra Slap. Let me just say that I had zero idea on what the hell one of those even was and had to Google it. Needless to say, it's a perfect fit for Todo's Boogie Woogie, but never in a million years would I have guessed that that's what it would end up being. The fact that he can choose to use his curse technique at any point within that time that it's vibrating is outright cracked and so broken that even Sukuna admits that it would be nigh impossible to adapt to it. We see it put into use in a big way, as just like in the finale of Shibuya against Mahito, Boogie Woogie helps set up Yuji for an onslaught of critical blows that help turn the tide of the fight. There's even a throwback to the fastball special from Shibuya when Yuji throws the rock at Sukuna and Todo switches him to keep the momentum for a devastating dive kick. It doesn't matter what manga it is, throwbacks to attacks previously used in the series but by a different character the second time around will always get me hype. This chapter honestly has some really good fight choreography. It all flows very smoothly, and the way JJK used his paneling to show the pace of Boogie Woogie was honestly elite. He was in his bag this week, hands down, bar none. My favorite part of the chapter has to be the 3-layered feint from Todo to fake out Sukuna into eating yet another black flash from Yuji. It's some of the most 4D chess I've seen in a shonen fight to date, because Sukuna had seen all of Yuji's fights up until he wasn't a vessel anymore, including both where he fought alongside Todo, so he knew of the tricks that they had stored away. Todo not only realizing that this was the case, but keeping that in mind and using it to trick Sukuna and give Yuji another opening is proof enough that he's one of the best sorcerers to ever do it in the modern age. I really didn't think he'd have this much weight behind being reintroduced, especially during the potential final fight of the series, but he is pulling his weight and then some tenfold. After Yuji lands his Black Flash, he begins to rip and tear at Sukuna like he's in Doom 2016, but it's as if it means absolutely nothing, because the Ancient Sorcerer isn't quite done yet, as he seemingly goes to activate Domain Expansion. But before he can do this, he's interrupted by what seems to be the return of our favorite silver-haired pretty boy, Satoru Gojo, with the narrator stating that those eyes are unmistakable, and with that, the chapter ends. Obviously, this took the fandom by storm when the leaks initially hit, but knowing JJK and his love of trolling the hell out of his readers, I'm making sure to keep my expectations tempered, so I don't get hurt too bad if it doesn't end up being the actual Gojo. If it is the real Gojo, it's pretty ballsy of JJK to bring him back not even 40 chapters after he was supposed to have been killed, as it could potentially sour the emotional beats of his students' response to it. But, on the other hand, if he is back, we get another chance to actually see him hopefully interact with all of these characters whose lives he's touched throughout the years, unlike prior to the fight between himself and Sukuna. Prediction time, and obviously this is just my own ideas of what could possibly happen based on what we as the audience already know, so let me know down below in the comments if the theory seems plausible or if I just sound like a big old dummy. If Gojo is revealed to be alive and helps finally bring an end to Sukuna's reign of terror, I think he'll start the merger, and our heroes will have to regroup and figure out how to deal with this potentially world-ending threat. My hope is that if this does happen, we'll get a time skip after getting the Heian era flashback we've also desperately craved for years now. To me, there's so much world building that could be done with that flashback, while also giving us fresh faces and abilities that would maybe breathe some fresh air to those who are burnt out on current ongoing events of the story. My last theory regarding what will happen after the fight is that if Gojo is alive like we're being led to believe, I think Kenjaku will come back. Call me crazy, call me stupid, call me whatever you want, but there's this nagging feeling in the crevices of my brain that's telling me that Kenjaku stored a piece of himself in that Tengen embryo that Sukuna swallowed and is waiting for the most opportune time to strike. Whether it's a feasible possibility or not, I do have to admit that I miss Kenjaku a lot, and one of my biggest reasons for wanting a Heian flashback is because it would be the perfect excuse to have him on screen again while being dead in the modern day. Would also be a perfect opportunity to give us more backstory on him, or at the very least, show him in action one last time or two. Whatever route Gege decides to take, I will be there every step of the way to see this series through to the end. The only thing now is to see if this is truly the end or not. Thank you all for watching my chapter review, especially to those who got this far and are hearing this. It means a whole lot to me. If you like what you listened to today, please drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel to continue boosting me in the algorithm. It'll go a long way to helping me reach my goal of 1,000 subs. Until next chapter, everyone, this has been imashbuttons, and I hope you all continue to be kind to one another while you wait for my next upload. Peace!